Brothers and sisters, misses and misters, bushwhackers and paybackers, my name is Dobie Maxwell. This is Max Bumgardner. This is the Dented Cast, where we talk about subjects that are taboo, not talked about, but well needed. And today we're going to talk about the K word. One of them is, Max?
It's karma. And I think karma is thrown around a lot, and I don't think anybody really knows what it means. What's your interpretation of karma?
It goes on a Sunday along with nuts and hot fudge. Oh, that's caramel. That's caramel. That's a whole other thing. No, karma, I believe it is. Is it Buddhist? I don't know what it is, but it's like, well, if you do good, good vibes will come back. And if you do bad things, bad vibes, it's bad karma. And that's not a good definition, but that's the loose one that I think.
That actually is a good definition.
I think that's what kind of gets thrown around in the public eye.
Yeah.
But is it religious based? I don't know where it came from. You're
Hindu.
Hindu, not Buddhist.
Hindu, no,
okay.
and Buddhist. Both. It's in both.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But where some people say is, have you ever heard that some people say, we're paying, like Dented Cans, us, are paying for something in a previous life.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Go.
I have heard that song. Yeah. Yes, you must have been Hitler's right-hand man in a past life because you are getting jammed up your poop chute now, all the bad things that you did. And then I hear stories that we choose our parents, we choose our circumstances in this life.
Well, that would be choice and not karma.
No, but that's the thing. Okay,
Yeah.
because the choice and the choices we make becomes karma for the next go round. Mm-hmm. And it depends on who you talk to. I don't know if that's right or not, and there's so many whacked out theories. What do you think?
I think it is definitely what you said originally. So what you put out into the world comes back to you. So if you put pain out into the world, pain comes back to you.
But if pain was put into you in the first place, sometimes it's hard to put out anything else.
Aha. That's the goal. That's the challenge. That's what we have to do.
Okay.
We don't have a choice. So you could just wallow in our pain all the time.
It's hard not to do that.
It is hard, but we can put our pain aside. We can.
Have you ever been around an old person? I'm sure we all have. Oh, my arthritis. Oh, this and that. I mean, there's a lot. How many TV shows have had an old person that has just complained about that? Finally, shut up already. Die or get better.
Right.
My father had a heart thing.
Take a walk.
Take a walk. Eat your mushrooms. Not out. It's all that put me in the will. And I think, it's easy when you're a kid. Well, I don't hurt, so why should he hurt? But we're talking about emotional hurt, not physical pain, correct?
Okay, yes, sure.
And that's a different story. I don't know about you. I can relate to that from a very young age. And while everybody's ever having fun at Christmas or supposed to be having fun, I'm feeling this. I don't want to be around them. I'm hurt. I want to go to bed, suck my thumb and go to bed.
I think you create your own karma.
Well, going back to the Bible, your favorite source, that it talks about, whatsoever ye soweth, that shall ye also reap.
Right.
So that's a version of karma.
When you are ruminating about your pain as a dented can, it's really easy to put out that negative vibe, and you don't realize that you're creating stuff down the road.
Well, I'm going to transition, and hopefully a lot of people watching us are in transition as well in a positive way.
Yeah.
And some of the things and the habits that we have cultivated through our lives, like you say, it was dumped upon us. We think, well, we are the idiots that our parents thought we would. And I should drink or do whatever I do. And I've grown so much in the last few years that comedy is not part of it anymore. People say, well, you're so gifted. Well, thank you. That's very nice to say. But the world had 30 whatever years. If I was that gifted, I wasn't good at the business part, but I knew you've seen me. Some people are naturals at certain things. I can make people laugh. My grandpa could do the same thing. I could be in a restaurant.
Let me ask you though. So do you think it wasn't your talent that held you back?
Oh God, no. I had a knack of pissing off the exact person that could help me the most.
Because you're in pain.
Because I was in pain, because I reacted the wrong way, because I did something that didn't please that person. And then to make it worse, I said, you don't like it? Windshield wipers. Here come the windshield wipers. I didn't care.
Right.
And a booker told me that I was pretty close with. He said, you know what? Everyone that likes you loves you. The people that don't are afraid of you. because you'll just walk up right to them and tell them whatever you're going to tell them, and you act like a star without going through the pesky stage of success, which is really true. I acted like a star. I thought, you know what? I'm me. I want to talk to you because I like you, not because you can do something for me. And that's totally not how show business works. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I try to like it, but I can spot a phony a mile away. And show business is full of phonies.
Right.
And life is full of phonies too, but not like in the entertainment business. And they'll claw and they'll steal, they'll stab you in the back. And I just didn't want to be around that vibe, and I still don't. You know. And people say, "Well, if you're so good, how come I never heard of you?" Because I was in Duluth with a check engine light on at 40 below zero in the middle of December somewhere, and my business was terrible. My show was pretty good. My business was terrible. I just don't want to be around it anymore.
So you created your own karma.
Absolutely did. At
Okay.
100%. Yes.
Now, getting off your the comedy and you specifically, just somebody watching.
Right.
You. So if they're stealing, if they are cheating, and you know if you're doing those things, you're creating bad karma, and what's going to happen is you're going to be punished by society or a certain segment of society, a group of bookers, for instance, a group of radio people, for instance. Losing your sense of self, because if you built something up for yourself and then you're alienated by that, you did that to yourself.
I make a conscious effort to treat everybody like they are royalty. And I don't mean to be corny about that. And especially the quote unquote lower they might be on the totem. A janitor, a waiter or waitress at a restaurant. If there is a person that seems to be having a hard day, I'll try to hold the door for them. Hey, how you doing? And that is, if I do have any talent at all, I can make them laugh. Just as my father could look at the malady and make them feel like just total lower than worm shit, I have chosen to turn that energy around and make them feel good. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, and I've seen you do it.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't do it. I don't do it for any other reason because
I know
it's the right thing to do. Again, I'm not bragging on myself, but this is a thing maybe could pass along to a viewer. I have a little bag of. I go to Goodwills and rummage sales, and I buy little trinkets, doodads, and toys, and baseball cards, and cars, and stuff like that, and little dolls. And only when a parent is around, I don't go stalking children. But when I see a kid come up and I say, "Hey, I got something for you," I'll go in my car and give him a little bag of 4 Hot Wheel cars. Some have the wheels off, some have crayon drawings on them, whatever. You think I just gave the kid a gold nugget? It was the gift of his life. And I don't care what the kid is. I don't care what color the kid is. I don't care what color the parents are. If I see a kid, I try to bring that energy out. And the parents, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And that's just an example of something I do on purpose, which costs very little, but I get way more out of it than the 50 cents I spent on those cars.
I totally understand.
That's the kind of thing, and I try to do that every day.
That's creating good karma. That's a perfect example of creating good karma. There's other ways. I mean, you can volunteer your time. That's the one thing that we're so rich with, and we spend it on binge watching Netflix or flipping through Facebook, looking at people bitch about their life. I mean, why? Why? You want to feel good about yourself. Do something for someone else. As a Dented Can, I know firsthand, and just like what Dobie's talking about, when you are at your lowest, if you choose to focus on someone else rather than, your pain, something happens miraculously, and you start lifting out of the hole.
There was a guy, he passed away, and I want to say his name. His name is Rick Hewitt, U-C-H-W-A-T. It's like a Scrabble 7-letter word. He came over here. His parents were in Auschwitz. He's of Polish descent, and he ran Zany's comedy clubs in Chicago. And he was what the Hebrew people call a mensch. Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, they all came up with Rick. And Rick, he just did things his own way. But people would walk through walls for Rick Hewitt. He was just an awesome guy. And he was in the service. And I was seeing him in a restaurant. If you saw anybody that was eating in a restaurant that had a military uniform on, he would go up to the waiter or the owner and say, "I want to pay for those meals." He did well with the Zanies clubs. "I want to pay for those meals, but don't tell him who did it, or I'll smack you." You do that. Just don't tell him who did it. And then they go up to pay, and just the look on their face across the restaurant, "Oh my God, my root's paid for." Little things like that, I think we can all cultivate and do them on a daily basis. And Max had a brilliant point, which before we go, I want to mention. We don't see it as a kid because the shit comes out of the cement truck But what point in our lives does it turn around and say, okay, we are in control now and we can choose? And I think sometimes no one tells us, hey, you're in control now, little Maxie. You can make the good choices now.
You're right.
And so we want to tell you that if you're having problems and pain, you do have choice. You're behind the wheel. Do something nice for someone else. And that's our happy ending for today.
That is. And it does work. I promise you it does work. It can be something simple. If you don't have a lot of money, for example, just doing something for somebody, saying hi. You have an elderly neighbor in your neighborhood. Go do something for them. Spend a half hour with them. Because as a Dented Can, we spend too much time thinking about ourselves. That affects and creates negative karma because you ruminate on the shit in your life instead of stopping, going, yeah, I had some bad things happen to me, but I don't have to keep having bad things happen to me. I can do good things for other people and in the process feel good about myself. And the underlying theme there is I'm creating something good for the rest of my days.
One more thing we forgot, since we can cut this out if it's not good, but I think this is good. The acts of kindness that you create, they might not remember your name, but I can think back before we did this episode, Max and I, we talk about things, and I was doing a little preparation, and I thought of a guy, this has to be more than 30 years ago. I was a DJ in a club, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was a blizzard out, and there was no buses running, and my car wouldn't start, and everybody was gone, and I lived about 10 miles away from the disco, the nightclub that I worked at. So it was 2 o'clock in the morning. What chance do I have? I had to walk home. I couldn't afford a cab. There was no buses running. So I'm walking in this foot high of snow, and this truck pulls over, and there's this Asian guy in there. And he had thick glasses, and he talked funny. And he's like, I'm sure he got made fun of if he went here and, lived in school or lived here and in school. And he drove me to my house. I said, no, you have to drive me to my house. Oh, I take it to your house. I'm not making fun of the guy. But and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was 30 years ago. I don't know his name, but that act of kindness still resonates. I don't know him from Adam, but it still is there today. So little acts of kindness will last a lifetime.
Be kind and watch our episode on kindness. It's coming up. K-word, kindness, okay? But be kind. And we're going to go ahead and close it right there. I would like to take this opportunity. If you do have some extra cash and you are looking for a way to help somebody out, I am going to put something on the screen here that you're going to see in just a couple of minutes that I have taken part in. It makes me feel good, and it provides water for people who don't have water. Think about that. They don't have water in their life, okay? Charity water. I'll give you the information on the screen right after this, but I give money to it every week. I think to myself, what would it be like to not have water? So I'm creating good karma. Hopefully you are too.
That's what we're here for. We're the Dented Cast. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back.